Welcome back to the 2014 League of Legends World Championship. I'm here with SK Gaming's AD carry, Candy Panda. Now, Candy Panda, of course, not the best day for you guys. You guys got knocked out. What were the first reflections of your performance here?
Well, it's really sad and kind of embarrassing because we came here as like a really good team, or so we thought. But then it all went downhill, and like it's just really depressing.
How much of that do you feel like you personally or the bottom lane was mechanically underperforming, or was it being outclassed?
Well, I'd like to say that we've just been underperforming, and like this year's Worlds really showed our weakness, but I think it also has a lot to do with the mindset, because if your mindset is not clear, then you're not going to perform as well either, because you're thinking about other things and you can't fully think about the game. So that has a lot to do with that as well.
So now it's actually the case to leave it all behind you and look ahead. What are your first thoughts knowing that you're back in the LCS, you have a clean slate coming back in next year?
Well, so last year I thought like my gaming career is going to an end because we got relegated and I was really not feeling so good. But this year we made a new team, we got to Worlds, and next year I'm just gonna try to play again and then see if it was just a fluke or like I can keep going up. But personally, like for me, I feel like I still have the spirit to keep playing and really improve. But yeah, next year will show.
Well, you did it once, you can do it again. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, I know you're ready for the next match, so let's send it back over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Sharks. We are heading into Game 5, where the Turkish team Dark Passage will face off against China's Edward Gaming. First and foremost, I need to apologize and tell you that I fail at math, because for Dark Passage, they need to win 2 more games to guarantee their spot. They need to take down both Dark Passage and AHQ tomorrow. If AHQ manage to bounce back and pull off the impossible and win out, there could be a tiebreaker scenario, however unlikely that may be. So yes, EDG still technically not 100% guaranteed. Now that that math is off the table, Dark Passage have got a very big uphill battle, taking on this incredibly strong-looking squad from Group A. What do we take away from EDG in previous games?
I just think they looked really strong, and if you look at Dark Passage right now, they're not even looking to get their first win. They just want to get even closer to a win. They have had a couple a perfect game against them, and then an almost perfect game against them. They just want to look a little better. And honestly, if you're in this position, you just need to stay positive and just try and learn as much from the game as you can.
I actually managed to talk with Touch in the game a little bit. I've messaged him back and forth. I was like, so what's your plans coming into this game? And he said, not die. Wait. But he's smiling. He's actually being happy about it. And he's actually looking more forward to the fact that they can definitely battle AHQ. They can definitely get themselves a good performance in this tournament.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they can do. Care to comment on EDG?
I just think it just depends on the way that Dark Passage handled the losses, right? So if they have a positive attitude and they're willing to adapt, maybe they can take something away from their losses to Samsung White and maybe play more aggressively, and they can miracle win lanes, get some good all-ins going, get some good team comps going. But yeah, honestly, it's a huge uphill battle, and EDG is just looking better and better every game.
Well, we can see how good EDG is looking. As we said, 2 more games and they guarantee themselves that spot. Let's start over to D-Man and crew to take us into the game.
Thank you very much, Quickshot, and let's head into the starting lineups. Over on the blue side, it is going to be Turkey's Dark Passage. That means in the top lane, it is Fabulous, Crystal in the jungle, Naru in the mid lane, Holy Phoenix as the AD carry, and Touch on support.
And on the red side, of course, it is China's Edward Gaming. Core on the top lane, Clearlove in the jungle, you in mid lane, and then Name and FZZF, or ZZF, if you're Canadian, on support.
Ooh, or English. So
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just me. I just say Z.
Yeah, that's interesting, since his name is an acronym, FZZF. Technically, it's FZZF, unless he's just going for the phonetic sound.
I don't know how the Chinese say it, so I'm not going to go out on a limb on that one.
I'm going to keep doing FZZF.
Yes.
Well, chase the wind on a windy day.
FZZF for a couple of years now.
3
when
years.
He was back in WE, so we're going to stick with that one. WE will delete. That's another question right there, ladies and gentlemen. So, game's going to get underway. As Trevor finally mentioned, EDG, if they do win this game, they will reach the quarterfinals. Got ahead of himself, but it's kind of expected because EDG need 2 more? No, I'm pretty sure it's just the 1.
EDG, they need to win this game, and then AHQ would need to lose a game, or EDG wins 2 games in a row. But
even I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, their next game is going to be pretty important anyway. This one is still important. It's a should win. If these guys drop a game to anyone who's not Samsung White, it's a big disappointment. This should be a quick and easy performance for EDG if they want to continue on in this World Championship.
Absolutely. Seeing Dark Passage already take out Clear Love there with the Rengar and the Orianna as well from you. It has indeed been unstoppable when he has it in his hands.
Absolutely. They've been fantastic. And for EDG, they're going to be basically using themselves as an advertising platform. We've seen Samsung White. They have destroyed everybody in this group, EDG included. And EDG themselves
very confidently
need to sort of put themselves on the map right now. They want to feel, put themselves a bit of a mental barrier to everybody else, because obviously now they're looking likely to be the team to get to qualify. Will they be the #2 team? And they want to be the team that people want to avoid. Everybody's looking to avoid Samsung White, but the fallback option is Edward Gaming.
Name needs to have a big game. I feel like he needs to have a big game for his confidence. I mean, the other rival AD carry in this group is Imp, who destroyed him in a 2v2 lane, has already picked up a pentakill, is just putting up these absurd numbers, and then Name has had these average to lackluster games where he should be dominating. So this would be a game for EDG to build their confidence.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, his Chinese counterpart Uzi is setting records right now as well. So, there's a lot of pressure, I would say, probably on Name's shoulders.
A little bit of catching up to do on there. Zillion passing through on this one, so we'll see how Dark Passage answers to this. Focus on the mid lane allows that to go through, and we will see another game of Braum coming in. Fat Fabulous has already picked up Rise, looking a little late game here.
Yeah, so looking like, again, very standard picks for Dark Passage. I wonder what type of strategy they'll come into this game with. It's so difficult when you are a completely overmatched team in these situations to try and make good of the situations. Analyst Desk had that discussion earlier on in the day. What kind of cheese strategy are they going to use? What kind of weird thing are they going to try and pull out? Let's be honest. At the world stage, that stuff probably doesn't work. So they're just going with whatever they know best, and they're still getting outclassed. We'll see if they can make something miraculous happen.
One thing we have seen throughout this tournament so far is some very impressive Aurelius. Who'd have thought Aurelius making that appearance all over again? And it looks like it may well be Koro going back to a champion he's had great success on in the past. I would say great success. He's 1 of 3 in the summer, but he's had great success here at Worlds on this champion so far.
Aurelia, as a champion, exploded in the LPL playoffs.
I lied. He's played Maokai 3 times.
You're just all over the place right now.
My stats are just wrong. I'm just getting pulled from pillar to post.
Well, I'm sure he's been practicing it well.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's in. So Name does have something that he can carry into the late game with. If Yu does not get something he wants, he's actually leaving that up, obviously, to counter pick. Man, this is still a fast picks and bans going through here. Dark Passage, they have been growing as a team so much throughout this tournament. We see them correcting things from game to game, but everybody's still able to find a way to the finish line on them. So far, looks like they're going to be locking in with 30 seconds left. They're going to do some fun hovers, and actually the Jace touch locking that in for the team.
Oh, that's the real fun, is the Junker Pantheon.
Yes.
All right, so a couple nice things coming out. Finally, they're going to be doing a slightly different strategy here. We hear so much talk about mid lane Jace. Every mid laner, it seems, has dabbled in it, but they just never seem to find the right situation to pull it out. Here, they recognize they're going to be going against a mid lane Zillion, so the high amounts of burst AoE damage that Jace can do is actually one of the best things you can pick against Zillion strategically, because if you make everybody low, the ult has much less effectiveness, and generally when you're running Zillion, you have a very squishy team. So I really like the Jace pick in this contest.
Easily locking in that Thresh for the last, so Yu gets his Zillion. This is going to be a fantastic matchup. A lot of speed to come in on these fights with that gate going open. We'll see if Fat Fabulous can proc his ultimate and just fly right through and get those lockdowns that they need.
Yeah, for a second I thought they were going to try and do a last-second switch-up on us, but they were probably delaying the lock-in just so everyone could make sure they had the right Rune Master page down there. I actually do like this pick and ban from Dark Passage. However, we know they're very outclassed in this tournament, so they'll have to play miraculously to pull out a victory.
Yeah, I mean, Edward Gaming have got the double resets, they've got a lot of safety with the Lantern, and of course the Zillion ultimate, so there's a lot of in and out possibilities for them. Dark Passage are just looking to try and make an upset.
Dark Passage was able to get the first blood on EDG last time these guys played. It was a very nice play to the bot lane. Holy Phoenix has his Lucian, but the Thresh is really the combination they love to get something going with.
Yeah.
Get that Dark Lantern, Dark Passage, again, back to the backside and get those ganks coming in. So that's going to be a little bit fizzled. Can they still put the pressure on?
Well, that's the thing. They could have gone for it. Instead, they chose Braum first. So the Thresh option was available to them. Maybe they just fancy changing things up. I mean, the fact that they've got a Pantheon adjacent there says they're absolutely changing things up.
Yeah, Lucian Braum is much more aggressive, right? They get the double shot from Lucian. They can proc stuns very quickly, which will be necessary when Pantheon ultimately will try and gank that lane at level 6. So I do like the synergy they've been able to put together there.
Well, the match is about to begin, and we'd like you to turn your attention to Twitter and tell us who you think will see the victory screen. Tweet us #DPWin or #EDGWin at LOL Esports, and we'll be tallying up your responses. Of course, the Dark Passage fans have been strong out there in the last couple of votes.
Yeah, every time they have that vote, they're around 78%. It's like right when a dragon gets taken or they get a kill, we'll flash that vote up because, let's be honest, these fans are numerous and they do believe.
Do believe indeed, and I believe we're in the game. Dark Passage versus Edward Gaming. Coming out for the last game of the day here, day 3 at Worlds Group Stage. EDG trying to make a lot of moves here with a win, and then hopefully have an AHQ with a win as well. They'll be solidifying spot nicely.
Doesn't look like there's going to be too much fanciness coming out from either team. Doesn't seem there's going to be any early aggression. We have seen a couple of invades when teams have just rolling the dice and hoping that they can get something from a level 1 play. It seems that both Dark Passage and Edward Gaming are looking to start this one out fairly slowly. Little strange positioning though. It is Crystal running the mid lane. I think Touch and Crystal both doing a bit of taunting there.
We'll see where they can go with this. Last time these guys played, we had the deep wards going in that showed that it was Holy Phoenix and Touch that wanted the 2v2 versus Name and FCZF. They actually got the lane pretty late and still played it well. Like I said, they got the first blood. So if they can come out strong here, we have a nice, fun mid-game with this dragon.
Where you going, Crystal? Oh, there you going. You're going straight into a hook. And I talked about level 1 plays. Thought he'd get a cheeky peek over that blue. Not going to work out, though.
That is one of the worst things to happen to a Pantheon at level 1 is to have to burn your flash. One of the main reasons when Pantheon has seen play that he sees the play is for his level 2 or 3 gank in the mid lane, which very often is just a trade of flashes so they can give a quick advantage to his own mid lane. You flash stun on Pantheon, maybe try and get a kill, at the very least burn the flash. He can't do that anymore because he was trying to gain intelligence on where the enemy jungler was starting to avoid a counter gank. Now, it's just pointless.
Fizzled out a little bit there, but I'm pretty sure we'll see him coming to lane soon to get a little bit of help out. Push coming in here from Holy Phoenix and Touch. They try to get some light bringers to spark a little damage on FCZF, but he dodges out. Name is not going to have any trouble farm. Actually, no, he has explosive shot, so that's going to mess some things
They
up.
missed 3 CS on that first wave. Well, 2 CS. No, 3 CS on the first wave. Right. The Targon share, for those of you wondering, will show both CS since it is shared. So FCZF got one of those, which is credited to Name. So on the first wave, if they do 1 share, it should show as 7 CS if they got all of them, and they only got 4. So they missed 3 big CS on that first wave.
Good prevention on those tweets coming your way there.
Hey, we gotta protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
Man. It's a dangerous world out there.
Every time we mention that one, everyone's like points it out and just like, you might want to look at the patch notes, guys. I'm just saying, this is something that changed. So, this bottom lane, we'll see now that they're both at level 2, nobody going overly aggressive towards one another. Mid lane, Naru versus Yu. It's going to be a tricky one to call for sure. Jace versus Azillion, definitely not a matchup we're used to seeing. We'll see how it develops for them. Rise up against Koro in this top lane, putting a little bit of pressure early on against Koro. Koro went 1-3 in the summer on Aurelia, as opposed to being successful like I suggested, and has yet to play it so far. Of course, his Chinese counterpart's the one that's been playing heavily in this top lane.
And speaking of tendencies in the top lane, Fabulous has almost always pushed in his opponent and then died, is something we've seen pretty frequently here. You can see Clear Level's up there looking for a gank, and he's actually in a position where he would be gankable, but there's a big minion wave. He's got a Pantheon fairly close behind him, and he does have decent ward coverage up. He's just got to be careful not to die here before level 6, because that's been a pattern here at Worlds.
Safe with the flash, his ward did just die, and that rotation from Clear Love looks like it will be towards the north at this point, pushed up towards the turret. Fabulous says, wait, I'm a little low on mana, I might not want to stand so close.
Aggression coming out there, forcing Name to jump straight away. Touch getting deep on it. The hook lands on Holy Phoenix, though, but instantly blocked out by Touch. Nice work.
Yeah, and there was no rocket jump follow-up because Name had just used it to jump away. So some pretty aggro trading here going down from both these guys.
Nicely
They're going to eat
done.
their health potions.
Oh yeah, mana potion, or mana rather, in favor of Name on these trades. Holy Phoenix uses his mana to do damage, so they got to watch out how far these fights go. Could be in favor of Name and FCZF quite soon.
Bit of back and forth between these. We'll keep our eye on it. We're talking about Name needing to go big on this one. He is up against the Lucian, so expect him to be under a little bit of pressure early on in the lane phase. Junglers, we're not seeing a great deal of them so far. Clearlove is making his way down towards this bottom lane, though, so we may see him making the first appearance. Will the Lantern be coming out from FCZF in just a moment?
Well, no summoner spells burned. However, Dark Passage has been playing very aggressively. I think EDG is trying to bait something here, but they're a little bit close to their turret to actually prompt some Dark Passage aggressive. They're just going hard.
There's the caster wave. They can get by it now, and there's the Lantern coming in. That's going to be the hit up onto Holy Phoenix, and Touch is going to get locked in. A touch too much, and they are going to be able to pick up those kills in the bottom lane.
And that's exactly what EDG needed.
Oh, no! Gets him.
Womp womp.
What the heck? What a late ignite there by Touch, ticking him down. Crystal trying to get a counter.
Well, he's going to try and catch on towards him. Gets the stun just outside of the tower. Is it going to be enough damage? I think he's safe, and Koro walks away from that one without burning any summoner spells.
Oh, wow. Flashes onto Naru. He gets the gate, though, and he's able to get some speed out of that one. Does the slow come in? He gets himself over the wall, and it looks like he will be going down in this one. It's just a matter of time. Naru gets it up. Wait! The rest of the team, the bomb! Oh, it does take him down in the end. But Dark Passage is not getting anybody. Fabulous comes in on this one, and they're going to be able to lock down FCZF. Chrono Shift coming back up. Wait a minute. The flash? Okay, he's going.
What was EDG thinking right there? It's like everybody flash over the wall, just everyone burn your summoners, and the resurrections that happen from Dark Passage in their base, so they get the collapse, and they're, after this dragon, going to have a lead over EDG 7 minutes in.
Crazy, crazy stuff there. So, dragon goes down. Dark Passage in the lead. We'll see how long it works out from EDG having an immaculate turnaround down that bottom, barring that one single ignite taking Name down. It has quickly turned around. We'll see how it progresses. Name versus Holy Phoenix. The battle continues.
For EDG, trying to build confidence going into the quarterfinals if they're able to win this game, even though they haven't clinched, this is not the performance you want to have early against a team that has been a punching bag to other teams in this group. To be struggling here at 7 minutes does not bode well for EDG throughout the rest of Worlds.
It does not, and like we've been saying, DP is learning more and more throughout these games. Their warding has gotten so much better to create opportunities for themselves. You can see it now, FCZF having to clear out this one, which DP just got Dragon off of.
I was just going to say, you think back to game 1, this is the exact same story. Dark Passage had a very good start, around about 10 to 12 minutes in. Then EDG finally turned it on. This time around, though, it's just misplays.
But Dark Passage building on potential confidence from the last time. However, this is that fabulous overextension.
That's the flash coming out. He's still got some applied slows coming in. Whoa! From both Clear Love and Koro, but he breaks them. He's good. Level 6 has to blow the ult for some movement speed. Oh no. Unstoppable. You think you're safe, but here comes Zillion around the outside. Is he wise enough to grab the kill? Yes, sir.
All right, so EDG gets something back, but they still had to invest a heavy amount of resources for that top lane kill. Dark Passage now gets to go in for the blue buff, and we have a game on our hands.
Absolutely. Blue Steel in there. Naru also put a lot of damage down on that tower, I believe. You can see him hammering away on that while they were pushing up towards the top lane. Clearlove now leaping in to try and steal away that blue. Naru does not want any of that. He's going to come around the corner, but he's going to be tricky to stop a smite from Clearlove, that's for sure. Will he force him away here? Goes aggressive. Manages to not get in the way just in time. Clearlove steals it away with a smite, no problem.
You got a little bit of AoE damage when you lay down the hammer, but did not work. Crystal cleaning up mid lane here. He's got himself double buffs. Looks like they're going to be safe for now. Bottom lane, aggression. Nicely dodged out there. No trouble coming in for Holy Phoenix to touch just yet. 2-1-1 for Holy Phoenix to carry toward our Dark Passage.
I do have to commend Dark Passage here for putting up such a strong showing early on in this game, because it gets to you when the games they had against Samsung White had to be demoralizing. To come into this one and still be able to put up a performance, they have a very strong amount of mental fortitude right here. 9.5 minutes into the game, they are even in gold with the #1 team from the LPL.
Well, currently Fabulous no flash this time around. He's got to be careful he doesn't get baited in. He's got to realize that Koro is drawing him into that area. Clearlove ready and waiting, and Fabulous playing this one wisely. Now he realizes he's in trouble, gets caught by the void spikes, but he is safe.
Koro burned his Blade Surge so early right there. However, the wave is lost, and Fabulous is still very starved in items and experience. He has yet to complete his Catalyst already in the game, so he actually is in a large amount of trouble here.
Next you see Koro, as usual, trying to get that Sheen out first. The early damage to come in against Fabulous in that top lane. Just hasn't been able to create the recipe all the way just yet. Both junglers out of the base, back into the jungle to see if they can create more opportunities for their team. So far, Clearlove with 3 of those 4 kill participations.
We'll see how this one develops. Naru now with the Brutalizer complete. We'll see whether he starts to keep pressure on, because Yu's the one that's been roaming. He's been looking for those kills and helping out and getting them. He's kept up well ahead. Well ahead, he's close. Not too far. Holy Phoenix just walking straight up to Name and saying, what up? Now jumping on the top lane. Koro's going down here, or is he? Can he get away? Fabulous, one more hit's not enough. I don't think he can close the gap. The minions are walking him off. He goes invisible, gets the ward down. You haven't got the range, surely. He's gone so deep. Oh my gosh! Oh, the potion!
That is why you always drink your health potions. Now we need you with the dive.
It's gonna be big. Holy Phoenix trying to stay alive. Clearlove takes a bit of damage because he's the focus of the turret.
Whoa!
Is still in there. Chrono Shift coming up big for Clearlove. Beautifully done by the team. They are able to take down a kill in the bottom lane as Koro stays alive up top. They're creating pressure now.
Chase around the side though. That's a death bomb.
Boom, he's about to explode. Naru coming in, you're 4v1, buddy. What are you going? We're going to see the teleport from Fabulous. Make that death drop coming in from Crystal, but they are all so split apart here. Naru will go down, and then Fabulous goes in. Where are you running to, Fences? Yes, going to put Chase on this one. The bomb comes in, and EDG turn on the power.
I admire the courage of Dark Passage right there, trying to make plays 1v4 and 1v5. But sometimes you just have to say no, and you have to slow down.
Oh, this is going to be another one. This is where they start the stranglehold a little bit more. EDG finding what they want and getting that lead.
So I want to rewind briefly. That tower dive down the bottom, if Fabulous had not continued that chase and just simply forced him off the tower, he could have teleported down, made it a 3v4, and when there's a rise in a 3v4, it would absolutely make it a lot more tricky.
Yeah, I mean, imagine right now a Rise teleporting in on that turret the instant the dive starts. It suddenly doesn't seem quite so hopeless, but because the teleport was not available since he had to recall on low mana, easy dive, zillion ult saves under the turret. Holy Phoenix sticks around a little too long because they're waiting for the flank. They're trying to turn this one around, but remember, the timing is just so low right there. Fabulous is actually running towards the lane and only teleports when they see the counter teleport, just not the synchronicity or synergy they would need to counter a team like EDG diving as 5.
Very nicely played. We see you picking up a Magi's, trying to get a little bit of ability power and cooldown and the full stackage. 21.2 to 17.4, a little bit of a back and forth here for the Dragon, but not enough contest to really put any damage down on it. Dark Passage loses out on that one, but it's 1 of 2, so each team has a Dragon with themselves now throughout the game. We are 13.5 minutes in, and EDG is starting to really turn up the heat here. Let's see if Dark Passage can re-answer that.
Yeah, it's the 12-minute mark that I talked about. Last time they came around, they hung around, it was pretty close, but now EDG just turn on the power. Indeed, Dark Passage in that last matchup, they just went in one by one. It was solo queue-esque, and as you said, the synergy wasn't quite there. They knew what they wanted to do, they just didn't commit to it.
I actually said the synchronicity wasn't there.
Well,
Thanks anyway.
you made a word up. That was nice.
Anyway, Dark Passage is definitely struggling now. I will say, though, that EDG, if they want to have a chance at winning the World Championship here, they have to clean up their early game.
Yeah.
Every single time they've struggled, they have not honestly looked that impressive. Name, for as much hype and respect he has gotten in the LPL, he has not shown up yet on the world stage. His early laning has been even at best most of the time. Yes, he can make some ganks happen, but it's not the jaw-dropping plays like we're seeing from Imp and Uzi so far at Worlds here, and he needs to have that level of play in the group stage here.
Bit of time left in this game to show what Edward Gaming can do to close it out once they get a lead. Well, definitely could strike fear into the teams they may be facing if they get out of this group stage. It would be one of the things they could really put under their belts here. A long game will definitely show the other team's weaknesses in their play.
It's interesting. I wonder, I'm just casting back my mind that yourself and I would have been involved in, say, FPS games, the communities way back then with the group stages. Often the big favorites would come through group stages and be lackluster because, simply put, they're not focused on it. You know, we've obviously seen EDG make comments saying we're only focusing on the other teams. We're not really just, concentrating our stats and efforts onto this. We're looking towards the quarterfinals, the semifinals. They're looking ahead in the tournament. And have they just took their eye off the ball a little bit? Maybe not completely 100% focused on these matches, which is why we're not quite seeing the big performances we're expecting.
Yeah, Naru gets caught out yet again. You can see EDG has taken control of this game now. The Soul Stealer, obviously, great for you. And I'll expand on that in a second, but Pantheon's jumping in.
And jumping out.
Yeah. It was good for the show. Could be some more love up to the top lane, though. We do have you bringing himself here as well.
Well, while this is all happening, Name is just in the mid lane, just saying, thanks, I'll take your turret. Should I come across? Do you need me? No, I'll keep on pushing them waves in. Why not? That's going to be the top turret going down for Edward Gaming. And while it was a slow start, they are absolutely dominant right now.
Yeah, I think actually the Zillion global experience had a lot to do with them being able to take small advantages. But to your point, actually, about EDG looking ahead and how that's potentially what they're doing here, I think there's a lot of validity to it, because if we look at their success in the LPL, they're hardly ever a dominant regular season team, but they are always a dominant playoff team, and they're always winning the regionals. So little missteps they're having in the group stage here are not completely unfounded, because they've shown missteps in games that don't have the ultimate importance in the past. What we do know about them is when pressure is on the line, the reliability of some of their play is what comes through. I mean, Name not making a bunch of plays in the group stage, while it is a little concerning, he's not a huge playmaking type player. He's more of a reliable player who will always come through in the end.
Well, speaking of going a little too far, maybe they've got a bit off more than they can chew. Crystal, though, he will get taken down. They do get themselves one kill, but look at that. The Zillion is there, the revive is on, and Dark Passage are dropping once again.
Crazy fights coming in. They have to remember, they haven't fought in a long time. The ultimate of you is going to be up. It's going to save somebody. They're not trying to fight within these windows, and the fights are not going their way. It's just too far in favor of Edward Gaming.
Check the Soul Watch, since you did initiate the Soul War. So he is currently at 3 stacks. He needs a few more. All right. Soul Stealer becomes gold efficient after 6 stacks, and quite honestly, there's been a re-emergence of Soul Stealer recently.
I want clarification on this, because I've been told 5, 6, 8 different players tell me different things. I've had production telling me 5 the other day. I've had somebody else telling me 8. I'm just like, I don't know what is going on right now.
You should get changes to it.
So listen, gold efficiency differs depending on your baselines. So if you're using the amplifying tune for the base value of what 1 AP costs, then it's going to change than if you're using a needlessly large rod, right? So 6, 5, it's in that ballpark what is gold efficient, depending on your definitions.
It's close. We'll give it that.
3 is not gold efficient.
There you
I know
go.
that.
I should point out,
we have the over-under.
This is not the first time that we see this from Chinese teams as well. This is actually becoming an almost standard item in that mid lane on certain champions.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Soul Stealer a little bit. So I think it's a very strong item on supports, especially Janna, because she sits so far in the back and she can get those assists.
Hardly ever die.
And honestly, it's been a long time coming. At the very start of the season, supports were giving a lot of differing AP ratios because of increased gold influx. They've decided to spend that on wards instead. all the time. A lot of supports are buying like 2 or 3 pink wards every time they go back to base. EDG is just going to dive here, trying to get more soul stacks. But yeah, they'll end up getting a lot of that ability power just because they're getting the assists. And in the mid lane, for someone like Zilean, he's mainly scaling off of cooldown reduction in levels. If he can secure that, he'll get the ability power just because he's involved in so many fights. And with the Chrono Shift, he can prevent losing stacks much more than other champions. So I actually like it as a normal item as long as you're a little bit ahead on Zilean, since you do need to snowball the game anyway. Building a snowball item is actually very viable.
Especially when you're in the lead, and they are that so far right now. 10,000, just actually almost 11,000 gold here. Now starting to deny the resources in the jungle. EDG kind of running away with this one here. We did say that, you know, teams don't focus too much on others, but would be nice to see EDG kind of come through with the power that we see Samsung taking teams down with others as well, to show that they have that.
Let's be completely fair here. Yes, they were even in gold at 7 minutes, but they have a 11,000 gold for 19 minutes. That type of lead
that doesn't suck.
In any game I've seen has never been surmounted. Actually, I was looking at a lot of 20-minute gold advantages across worldwide teams. The biggest comeback I saw was Samsung Blue was 7.1 thousand gold down on Samsung White, and they came back to win the game.
Oh, right, yeah.
That is much more. The biggest you'll usually see from teams in their entire splits is 3,500 or so at 20 minutes. Like, that's what is a winnable game. 11,000 is completely out of the ballpark of a potential comeback.
Oh, it is going to be Edward Gaming moving in. Koro going big on this one. He's happy. He's got the Zilean support, of course. He will just get revived back in there. And Yu is running through the team. There's a leap coming out from Nami. He gets himself the double touch. Will he get taken down? Nami wants it. He's going to have to take too many now hits. Couldn't quite finish it off. Crystal will go down. That's going to be Koro. And that is a 4-for-0 as they turn and go towards Baron, while their AD carry takes down the inhibitor turrets.
These shots look like they hurt, and that might be because Name's level 13. He's shooting level 10s, level 8s, and level 11s. That Zilean experience is so paying off.
Yeah, and speaking of paying off, Majai's Soul Stealer is gold efficient now, 10 stacks. They're going to be taking this Baron down 29 minutes in, making this game a completely one-sided one here for EDG. That about does it.
Closer to getting themselves out of the group stages. This is definitely confidence that they need. Probably a little shaken, like you said, in the beginning of this game. Not something that they wanted to see. And as I said before, something teams are going to know they can take advantage of.
I think that's the main thing. EDG getting a little bit exposed in certain elements of their game. And we have also been able to see some of their strengths. I mean, if we think back to the very first game here we saw at Worlds, they were 10,000 gold down against Samsung White and were able to be competitive, if not win, a few team fights in the mid-game. We will be able to see that rematch at the end of tomorrow's games to probably decide first place in this group.
Around strengths. I want to look towards that top lane here earlier. I mean, it's a pick we've seen re-emerge once again. Always kind of comes around every time the World Championships is on.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact there's a certain top laner in Korea right now that is watching this, that will be smiling and thinking, yeah, my time to shine, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about Wicked, of course, from Alliance. And we've seen a couple of teams picking Aurelia at once again, mainly for the fact, obviously, there's been a lot of bans focused on that top lane, which is forcing her appearance.
Absolutely right. Whenever we see these kind of overly dominant top laners come in, Aurelia always feels like she can creep back in. Specifically for Chinese teams, they use her for strong mid-game power spikes. When you can max that first skill and hit the Trinity Force, she can very quickly shut down AD carries, which are known hugely in China. This is actually a different AD carry build than I'm used to seeing. Or sorry, different Aurelia build that I'm used to seeing out of teams from the LPL. I'll often see a Trinity Force followed by a Frozen Heart, and they will use the Aurelia around the mid-game as just someone to shut down the AD carry. I'm actually very surprised by the Hex Drinker here, just because maybe Ryze was getting a little antsy because they're against pretty much double AD in the mid lane. He's just so far ahead that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he really wanted to get his fights in that top lane, and he can with the magic resistance. Helps just a little bit. One of the last outer turret standing here for Dark Passage. It's going to be a hook onto touch. I don't know if they're going to go far into that one. They draw out the Fisher as he just gets the field goal with that one through the team. They're going to go ahead and take down the turret and slowly push in towards the base.
So just another thing that's building, while of course EDG continues continue to push on through. Name building towards that Bloodthirster, I feel, for third item. This is something we've seen starting to develop for Tristanas now.
It should be the third item when you're this far ahead, because you look at people that do not have armor, the Last Whisper is not required. And as far as trading, as far as pushing, as far as damage, the Bloodthirster is better in every single regard if the enemy doesn't have armor. So he's just building smart.
Trying to stop the siege, but it's just going to be too much. EDG too far ahead this game, and it seems like they know when they are ahead. Starting to close this one out. Koro puts himself on the front line. Going to be a lot of damage towards him. He wants to go down, but he actually keeps himself alive for a little bit longer. The Chrono Shift's not going to go down, and the Baron keeps him alive.
Oh, man. Ooh, blocked off by FZZ Avenue. They turn around. They try to get the hook back on towards Holy Phoenix. They've driven them out of the base for now, but it's only a matter of time before they come knocking back on that door. Giant wave in the bottom. That's where Edward heading towards. Not just Edward. You know, Eddie's back in his hometown right now. Sadly, he's not taking part in this World Championships. But this is going to be another inhibitor turret going down.
And you're going to get a teleport in just on the top side here.
What a job.
Uh-oh, DP going down. Crystal's going to get hit up. Koro comes from mid because he teleported back into the fight after being very low in that last engage. The inhibitor turret getting hit up. Nami feels like he can face tank that. Koro goes for a self-initiation. Gets stopped up by Room Prison, but it doesn't look like they're going to stop here. A bit more pressure towards the Nexus turret, and they're going to take down that last inhibitor.
Well, they've been attacking for so long that the cooldown's back from you, and they're going to jump straight in. They want to try and create some pressure. There it is once again. That ultimate is paying dividends right now from Zilean, and we've seen really why actually Zilean has been drawing a lot of bans throughout this World Championships. It looks like Edward Gaming are going to try and close this one out as fast as possible. 25.5 minutes gone. Dark Passage looking to just try and hold on towards their Nexus turret, but Name is just burning through the damage of all those hit points of Dark Passage. They are finally going to step away. The Baron buff was worn off.
They needed the health regen. They are the slow, steady, reliable team in so many different ways. We've been actually mentioning the 1% crit rune that so many junglers and AD carries have been building in, especially junglers. Clearlove is pretty much the only jungler we've seen that doesn't build the crit rune. That's because EDG just as a team is all about reliability. Why would you want the 1% crit when your other 99 attacks can do 1 more damage every single time? I'm actually personally in that camp. I don't like the 1% crit runes. So slow and steady usually wins the race for EDG.
This death squad coming out right now of EDG, or rather Hydra, with the Ghost Blade as well, just coming from Clearlove. Everybody getting items that they want and don't necessarily need, but they're doing the damage with you trying to start a fight by himself. Koro, again, going into a 3v1 situation. The spikes are going to go right through and take down Touch, and they're in the base for the win.
He gets the triple kill. He's going to go for the Quadra. Crystal gets down. There's the Quadra kill.
Go for it.
Will Naru give it up? Can they go on towards the Phantom? He's going to see Naru. He wants to go. Name takes it, and that is the game for Edward Gaming. Only the Quadra. We didn't quite get the second Penta, but Edward Gaming looking strong. It took them a little while to get going, but once they did, holy moly, they tore apart Dark Passage.
And it does look like they have a little bit of consideration that they're thinking about that game. We could have done this, we could have done that. Dark Passage coming out again. The little wins advances for them. They have had such an experience here on the stage and really have grown as a team. Absolutely, we've seen it.
Yeah, Dark Passage, 7 minutes into this game, was even in gold with the #1 team in China. So no matter what else happens, they can take that away when they go back to Turkey. But slow and steady for EDG. Ends up only being a 27-minute game. It's pretty fast, slow and steady with 27 kills. However, not being able to close on that pentakill. Samsung White got their pentakill. Right? They're thinking, why wasn't the top laner the one we left alive?
He's thinking, I bought this Hydra for a reason, guys. I wanted that pentakill. He almost got it. It wasn't to be. So Edward Gaming looking strong. They still need to get one more win, or AHQ need to take a loss to confirm that spot in the quarterfinals. But right now, they are a shoo-in.
It definitely seems that way. The group hasn't put up much of a fight. It has gone the way we thought it would.
Yeah.
When this draw happened, everyone was thinking, man, EDG and Samsung White, they were two of the strongest teams going into the entire World Championship. No one would want to be drawn into their groups, and it was just so unfortunate that it was an international wildcard team and the number 2 seed from the GPL that got dropped in there, creating a very lopsided spot in the group with some upset potential, but it just didn't really come through.
I mean, the fact that the groups went that way does have a counter. The fact that Group C and D are incredibly strong. Of course, that's Singapore next week. Tomorrow, big game's going to be happening. Edward Gaming will be facing Samsung White. That is the final game tomorrow as well. That's absolutely one people won't want to miss.
We still got one more today, though.
Yeah, we do indeed have one more today. We're going to head back over to Quickshot and the analyst crew for a closer look at that match.
Thank you very much, guys. And D-Man, sorry for failing the math and leading you to believe something wrong. So anyways, the match did go as expected. Edward Gaming came out, took control fairly early on, but I do think some credit needs to be given to Dark Passage. They have gotten better as the games have gone on, and they made some more aggressive plays, not necessarily the all-ins we were looking for, but they did go for some of those early dives and early chases and punished EDG when they made mistakes.
Yeah, EDG wasn't playing flawless early at all, and Dark Passage did a good job trying to keep up, and that actually makes the battle for first place in Group B even more important. Like, if you can choose White or EDG at the start of the predictions, maybe we're like, yeah, maybe they're similar, maybe White's a level better, but how much? But looking at EDG now, like, the discrepancy is very, very big.
Yeah, and Jat was talking about how EDG is known for stepping up and being very consistent, but this is the World Championships. It's so hard to just say, yeah, they're going to step up when it actually matters. If they play, for example, Samsung White or Samsung Blue, it's just going to be ridiculous to say that their early game would shape up so quickly. I mean, they're making so many mistakes, especially against a weaker team. I just didn't expect that from China's best.
I agree completely. On one hand, you can say, well, they were playing a big underdog. They played a little bit recklessly, like Samsung White kind of was in their games, but of course, those guys made it look really clean. On the other hand, I, again, completely agree with you, because even in the Chinese regional final, you had Starhorn Royal Club take them to 3 games. In fact, they were leading early game most of those battles. So if Starhorn does take number 1 in Group B and Edward Gaming does fall to number 2, you could easily have that, that inter-country kill and Starhorn suddenly's top 4 in a very believable fashion. And so I agree. These guys need to shape up that early game and temper that aggression somewhat.
I mean, this is still a team that is based around that late game and the team fighting. And if you draw that comparison to Samsung Blue or something like that, well, you could say, oh, well, Samsung Blue often falls behind in the early game as well. They've done it to many teams, and yet they've only lost 1 best-of-5 in like 9 months. So I'm not as convinced that EDG's early game is as big of a problem as people seem to think it is. Obviously, against Dark Passage, more questions arise, but I think they're going to get it together and do just fine.
2 things, I'm going to quote you on that at a later date. And number 2, I think it's time to slide this one along. Earlier today, we asked you guys to get onto Twitter and tell us who has been the most outstanding player in the Taipei group stage and why. And we're going to talk about some of your selections. From SJ Danois, supports rarely get the playmaking credit they deserve. Not on this desk. Mata is changing that and has come out huge during the group stage. Crepo, as a fellow support player, I think you're going to agree.
I just think the way the support metagame has changed just over the course of like the entire season, I do think playmaking supports have a better place in the metagame, and they do actually get a lot of credit. But then Mata takes it up to another step. He's just flawless in almost every aspect of his play. And yeah, if we ever mention supports, he's the one we're going to be mentioning first.
He's the faker of supports. All right, next one. At Demon Zyod, BB really impressed me with his mechanics in their game against Starhorn Royal Club. He was basically 1v5ing faker style. BB definitely has looked good.
Yeah.
Not great.
I do have a lot of respect for BB still as an individual player. Also, he's taken the shot calling role for Taipei Assassins. That can be a lot to focus on. Ultimately, though, his bot lane synergy with Jay I found to be a bit weak, and so he's looking, I would say, worse than he probably should, because a player of his skill actually should be putting up a little bit better numbers with that.
Yeah, to me, BB will always be a legend because he won the Season 2 World Championships in a spectacular fashion, but you can't really see him shine so much because the game now is so dictated by laning phase, and he doesn't have great synergy with Jay, so he doesn't get to shine as much, and then when he does get to that mid-late game, when he's actually even, and he's not super far behind, he does get to play very well.
All right, and the next one comes to us from @JoshLol1 or Lolly. Definitely Uzi. His tryst was incredible versus TSM. It seemed like getting caught was part of his plan. I'm not sure I agree with that so much, but hey, if it works out, it works out. Don't you think, Monte Cristo?
I guess.
Guys, thank
Learn
you.
support Kale.
Well, thank you for sending those in, and of course, we'd love to hear more. Join the conversation throughout all of Worlds by tweeting to us @LOL Esports. Make sure you use that hashtag Worlds. Guys, we'll need to take one final break, and then we'll be back with the last match of the day, featuring SK Gaming versus the Taipei Assassins. Don't miss it.
And it looks like he will be going down in this one. It's just a matter of time. Naru gets it up. Wait! The rest of the team! The bomb! Oh, it does take him down in the end. But FCZF not getting anybody. Fat Atlas comes in on this one, and they're going to be able to lock down FCZF.
It is going to be Edward Gaming moving in. Koro going big on this one. He's happy. He's got the Zillion support, of course. He will just get revived back in there.
Koro, again, going into a 3v1 situation. The spikes are going to go right through and take down Touch, and they're in the base for the win.